Sag and Saturn was trine Uranus and Aries. We said that's going to manifest as whistleblowers, rogue agents, awakened order followers, lone gun fanatics to continue to impact international affairs. As far as whistleblowers and rogue agents, Snowden had a movie made after him this year. I think that's significant. Okay, Edward Snowden. And Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, I mean, that whole Pizzagate, most of the really relevant scandals that we are aware of, we're aware of because of Julian Assange. Okay? These same ones would be stressing those in charge. So Pizzagate is real. It's relevant. I predict the Podestas are either going to die an accidental death, I put that in quotes, or they're going to be disempowered some way because too many people know. And they got to just make this thing go away at this point. Just to show you, case in point, Hillary Clinton was in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania on Thursday. There was a heckler there heckling her about Pizzagate. And the Philadelphia Voice, not the, and I don't really read the Inquirer or the Daily News. Philadelphia Voice reported on it. And they dismissed the heckler, dismissed Pizzagate in the story, said, oh, it's, you know, it's BS. But then read the comments. Go find that article about Hillary Clinton coming to Philadelphia in the Philadelphia Voice. Read the article, how they dismiss Pizzagate, but then read the comments. I would say 90 to 95% of the comments were people saying, hey, I hear you trying to discount this, but this thing is real. What about this? What about that? And pulling up facts. 90 to 95%. So follow up with that. Alright, this year starting, the moon was in Aquarius in 11th house. A moon rules our feelings of security and emotional wellness. 11th house we mentioned, this house of politics. Politics was going to be stressing us this year, impacting how we feel, impacting our daily movements. Okay? And a lot of people are feeling Trump, but you know what? Trump shook up a lot of people too. A lot of people, they hit to their core with this man being there and are paralyzed with fear. There was a poll. What emotion does Trump generate the most? Optimism? No. Fear. Jupiter was in 7th house. In Libra, litigation. Litigation was and dealings with courts. Laws of man. Big issue, big theme this year. Also, Jupiter inflames wherever it goes. Libra rules kidneys. Kidneys and renal issues was going to be an issue this year. Also, high hog eating. Eating too rich. It's a problem wherever Jupiter goes. So eating high on the hog was really going to impact your kidneys this year. Alright? And we said, hey, expect the unexpected. Alright? With Neptune in the 12th house, conjunct Mars. Spiritual warfare. And those following CERN and the D-Wave computer, so-called Mandela effect. Y'all up on that? Because they changing our reality right before our eyes. If you're not up on it, you got to get up on it. See how the spiritual warfare through Earth's magnetic field is manifesting. So that's more or less that 2017 review. So here we are, 2018.
Yeah. my people as we go in the time.
Alright, and I hope, again, my intention, because we're in this retrograde stationary cycle, I felt like we had to go back. There's so much. There's so much jumping off. We had to go back and make sense of it before we could make sense of how to go forward. Alright? So let's look at 2018 real quick. Again, we say the big theme this year, Earth change acceleration. Why? You got two planets moving in, and they're slower moving planets. So these are going to set off longer Earth cycles. We got Saturn moving into Capricorn, like today. Saturn's at 1 degree Capricorn. And on May 18th, Malcolm X Earth Strong, getting right around there. Okay, I know it's officially the 19th, but right around there, Malcolm X Earth Strong, Uranus is going to move into Taurus, ending that 7.5 year cycle of it in Aries that we looked at. Okay? And Capricorn and Taurus are both Earth signs. 2018 is going to be one of the last years that on New Year's Day, the Sun is going to be conjuncting Pluto. Pluto is moving for about the last 4 years. Each New Year's, the Sun was conjunct Pluto. So that made it very intense. Pluto and Capricorn years. Those Pluto and Capricorn themes we were talking about, very intense these years. It's going to be that way this year, but this will probably be the last year where it's just really intense. Okay? But it's still going to be a very Pluto and Capricorn year. We got Mercury and Sagittarius in the 8th house. How's that going to manifest? One way. 8th house rules the underworld. Organized crime. Crime syndicates. Right? Sagittarius is the international scene. Mercury is expression and communication. I think information about the fullness of organized crime's tentacles in global politics, global trade, all that's going to be revealed. And we're going to realize it's not so much an Irish mob. It's not so much an Italian mob. What mob is it? Well, who is it? International mob. Who is it? Russia. Well, they're in Russia. They're in Trump's cabinet. Who's the most people in Trump's cabinet? Jews. The Jewish mob, the Jewish mafia, and the reach of their international tentacles. It's going to come out. Because you know that's what Trump's cabinet is, right? Yes. Do y'all know who's in Trump's cabinet? If you don't, you need to research. But over 3/4 of Donald Trump's cabinet and staff are Ashkenazi Jews. Many of them out of financial institutions of various sorts. Okay? But Mercury rules the mind. 8th house is the house of ancestors and disincarnate spirits. When disincarnate spirits and ancestors impact the mind without our conscious participation, what's that called? Schizophrenia. You hearing voices. I think that's going to be a big thing this year. I think disincarnate entities. What's the difference between an ancestor and a disincarnate entity? Your ancestor has your best interest out. Your ancestor got a connection to you. Your ancestor's going to work with you. This incarnate entity is probably going to manipulate you in such a way that you release energy that they can absorb. Are y'all with me? So this is a year, I'm saying that because this is a year we have to make our ancestors strong. Got to go to that wine and spirit shop. Not for you. Alright? But to feed your ancestors. Okay? And if you have family or friends, disincarnate entities are manipulating them, they're expressing schizophrenic behaviors, you got to help them. Alright, Jupiter and Mars are conjunct in Scorpio, 7th house this year. This is going to be a very explosive year for relationships. We're going to have to really value our mates and partners. Like put conscious effort towards valuing them. Because it's going to be explosive and volatile dynamics. There might be make-up, break-up. Also, too, with Mars in 7th house in Scorpio, the male mind. The male, we say like the male drive. What drives men to do what they do? This is going to be, it's going to be scrutinized in the media. It's going to be a hot topic. Okay? Why you laughing, sister? You ask that question every day?
No, because I got something happening all around that.
Okay.
In January.
So it's an event coming with this theme.
It's
all right. So look out. It's manifesting. All right. Now, certain relationships are going to be able to magnetize success and abundance. Mars is where we magnetize. Jupiter expands and prospers. What relationships are those going to be? Relationships with purpose. Because Jupiter and Mars is sextiling the midheaven and sun. Okay, that's our realm. Like when we're on our highest purposes, we're around our midheaven. We're doing our works. Okay? And also relationships with holistic vision. Because Jupiter and Mars is trining Neptune. Remember we said that key word for any Neptune dynamic, holistic vision. Got to have a holistic approach, a holistic vision. So if you are in a relationship where a holistic vision is part of what binds you together, and your purposes bind you together, Jupiter and Mars will bring you a lot of success this year, where it is. But also you got to value your relationship, because it may be volatile. It's not going to be easy. Alright. Moon in Cancer in 3rd house, opposing the Sun, Venus, and Saturn. This is going to be a year of emotional and mental instability. People are going to have a hard time being grounded in their reality. The way Trump is spinning the alternate facts are real facts and fake news is real news, and all that's going on in the world, it's going to make people just want to check out the non-nutrition in the food, the pharmaceuticals. It's all going to have a cumulative effect. Okay? Moon in 3rd house. Anytime the mind and the moon are merged, the potential for lunacy. Okay? Like what we would call lunacy, which is really nothing other than a heavy influence of the moon. But people who have lunacy, like kind of they're born with like moon in the 3rd house or moon in Gemini, right? Or Mercury in Cancer, or Mercury in the 4th house, where their mind and their emotions, Mercury and the moon, are conjoined. Full moons, new moons, it's hard for them to maintain. When you realize that the moon causes a high or low tide to change every 6 hours, you understand what the moon is doing to your blood every 6 hours. Y'all with me? All right. So all of that, it's going to be a lot of manic. I'm up one week, I'm in the bed, can't get out the next. Hard to keep grounded in your reality. Manic behaviors, which means you're so stressed out you can't go to sleep. And the longer you can't sleep, you might have some like psychosis associated with that. There's going to be a lot of that this year. Okay? What's going to ease it? Again, holistic vision. You got to hold firm to your holistic vision. That's going to ground you in your reality. What we consider a shared and collective reality is becoming less and less. So you're going to have to be really grounded in your reality and a holistic vision. Because if you just keep with what we're experiencing, you might get despair and despondency. So you got to see how you're going to get out this thing. And that's going to keep you grounded in your reality. All right, let's talk about these specific planets moving into these earth signs. Saturn's going to be in Capricorn for about 2.5 years. And again, it starts New Year's Day, or like between now and New Year's. Saturn's going to be in Capricorn. What's going to happen? Leaders, decision makers, those in authority, they're going to have to account for how they spent their time and the works they've done for the last 30 years. That's one thing. Issues around fatherhood, male parenting, the authority's role in the family. All of these things is going to become real issues. You know, like they are already, right? But we're going to be hearing about it in the news, and people are going to be having events around them, and, you know, fathers, like who's the boy now? LeVar Ball? That's his name, right? Yeah, like his example of fatherhood, and what, like some would say, he's a great father. He's raising all his children to be in the NBA. Others would be like, yo, this dude is tripping. He's going to send his children to Lithuania. And like his role, the authority's role in family and their impact in children, right? It's going to become an issue that people be talking about these 2.5 years. Because that's Saturn in Capricorn. Okay? Saturn in Capricorn is everything that has to be done without feeling. It's nothing personal. I love you. When you say, I love you, but. When you say it's going to hurt me more, it's going to hurt you, but. That's Saturn in Capricorn. It's going to be a lot of that too. Okay? As well as children boundaries. We already see this now, how they're saying, you're not really born male or female. You have a choice. Right? So children, the freedom children have to be a child versus what authority figures should be able to apply to them. Big issue with this Saturn in Capricorn. Okay? Now, when Saturn conjuncts Pluto, because remember Pluto's in Capricorn too. When Saturn and Pluto conjunct, the exact date of which is January 12th, 2020, government transformation is going to be very active. We know right off the bat that's the election year for U.S. So Trump will be running for his second term. If there's going to be an election, all right, that's another thing. But then also I could see like a one world government energy being very active around that time also. All right. And so yeah, the question will be New World Order or indigenous sovereignty. And I think that has a lot to do with what? Our holistic vision of how we're going to get out this thing. Alright? Now, Uranus and Taurus. This is the biggest thing. This is starting basically what's going to be an 8-year cycle of Uranus and Taurus. Alright? We're seeing one of these things manifest with it on the cusp right now. And that Taurus rules, Taurus is I have. Everything you say I have and put at the end of it, that's your Taurus self. That's your second house self. Alright? Taurus also rules our currency, our cash flow, which is ultimately the reflection of our personal value. You commit some time to something, how much currency do you attach to that time? $1 a minute? $200? That's going to dictate your currency. All of that is Taurus. It represents our earth. Like, what do we have in the earth realm? Uranus is electric. Okay? So, as Uranus moves into Taurus, it's going to be earth electrification. That's it. For like the broadest, the two broadest keywords to think about is earth, earth being Taurus, electrification being Uranus. Any way earth electrification may manifest, that's what we're going to see. Okay? So as far as currency and money, we see it now. The petrodollar is on its way out. The US dollar is losing its value by the day. And what is gaining value by the day? Say it. Bitcoin. You know it?
Ethereum.
Alright, and Ethereum, all of them.
Yeah.
So you know what? Yeah, you know what? The signs and the seasons, the rhymes and the reasons, they say, yeah, get your money in now. It does say that. It does say get your money in now. But now this is my only concern about cryptocurrency. And again, this is like social forces kind of converging. That blockchain technology, right? Where does the value come from in Bitcoin? The blockchain technology, meaning your computer has to be in a blockchain. And your computer has to help compute all of the transactions going on with Bitcoin, right? And so some electricity, some computing energy from your personal computer, that's really what the value is in that cryptocurrency. Y'all with me? Now, imagine we have a microchip processor inside our body that is exchanging in cryptocurrency in blockchain technology. Where is the energy coming from? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is there anyone that don't understand this vision?
Well, at that point it becomes a life force.
They're taking, exactly.
Right.
I could see, that's my one concern, my one reservation, excuse me, about this. Is that, no, you're not going to take my life force to add to your computing. Because you know what I think of when I visualize that? the Matrix. How they had them they had everybody plugged in, using them as batteries. How did we, let's say the Matrix is a projection of to a dystopian future. What decisions would we make that would just plug up and use me as a battery? Okay? So they got to make it sweet. You got to be a millionaire to get that microchip in you and let them use some of your life force. Am I right? You're not going to do it for a greenback that's a debt to note, a note for debt. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do it for that. But if, let's say you had 3 Bitcoins. So you got 3, let's say that's 300 G. And then it's like, yeah, you got to take this implant and be on the blockchain to keep your 300 G. What you going to do? So we got to think about that. Are y'all with me? We got to think about that. But now, another thing that we probably will witness with Uranus and Taurus, because Uranus is about mass access. Okay? So probably energy production will become decentralized. Like right now, how we have power plants that distribute across these power grids that are hundreds of miles, right? I see within a couple of years, One Arc got their own solar zero point energy generators right out back. So they ain't worried about Pico. And that thing will be replicated, and this cryptocurrency is going to increase that. It's going to quicken it, because the more the petrodollar dies, so too the petrochemical industry will die. Okay? Alright. Another way, like this Earth electrification, Uranus also rules the intellect. And like the nervous energy that runs through our nervous system, runs through our body. Okay? So intelligence and inanimate objects will merge. Okay? Inanimate objects are going to become electrified, but also have sensory ability. Problem-solving ability. So smart homes, interconnected realities, nanotechnology. Those are programmed molecules. Intelligent, molecules with intelligence can act on their own. 3D printing and AI, all these things. Robotics. Okay? Cyborgism. That's something we gotta, again, this is what we're talking about. We really are going to have a holistic vision how not to end up like a cyborg. Okay? Y'all with me? Alright. DNA computers. Them using DNA like a hard drive. They already got them. They already have DNA computers. The thing is, they're not really cost effective for mass production yet. But they'll probably become ubiquitous like laptops in this 8-year cycle. And also, sad to say, the smart dust, which is these chemtrails, alright, with living entities, living organisms, nanoparticles that once they touch a surface, they spring into action. So all of these are going to be relevant issues for us in 2018. Also, sad to say, Earth radioactivity. Okay? Uranus rules uranium. And Taurus rules the earth, like the whole earth. So the reality is living with radioactive land and food might become a new norm. People that have ways of eating, like one thing I'm working on is technologies, particularly simple vibrational technologies with crystals that we can use to deradiate. And I'm going to actually have a workshop on them in January. I'll get the information out. It's going to be February. Later February, after I return from Tucson. And it's going to be at Sister Cumin's house. So we're already pulling it together, but I don't have all the details and everything to just drop right now. But I'm putting it out there. Because we're going to need these things. You know? I would not be surprised if there is some type of global nuclear incident in these 8 years. And I would not be surprised if the human genome isn't changed because of it.
I will not be surprised if anything happens.
Yes, that is for real.
Nothing.
He said you can't be surprised if anything happened in this time.
Nothing.
Alright, some other things that might manifest in this Uranus and Taurus cycle. Uranus shakes things up. So earthquakes, major earthquakes is something we might see. Or swarms of earthquakes, cycles of earthquakes. Okay? There might be Aquarian social movements for land redistribution. Okay? Sad to say, GMO mutations. Like after GMO being in the food source for X number of years, we start seeing these unexpected mutations, right? But on the same note, we might see innovative agricultural practices and techniques that can feed masses, like a little bit of land feeding a whole lot of people. Like urban farmers, okay? Another thing we might witness that I think some of us might find hard to accept, end of personal property. Okay? Again, Taurus is I have, Uranus rules society. So like how the Uberization, the rental bikeization, the Airbnb'sization, where we just renting everything, we don't own nothing. That might be a reality in this 8 years. As well as this Uber economy, this social economy, where we're not necessarily working for someone else, we work for ourselves, but we serve society. Time banks, Uber Eats, Airbnb house. You know, that is a Uranus and Taurus reality. So we're on the cusp of those things, you know. We see it, but how this thing, like, once we're halfway through this cycle, it really might be like, wow, you still own your house? What? You still got a car? And we really see it with the younger people. Like my children, I got 7 children. 4 of them are age-wise able to drive. Only got 1 that took their license. The other 3, first it was SEPTA, now it's Uber. They cool, they don't want to drive. They cool, they are perfectly content picking up their phone, opening up that Uber app, and doing what they got to do. Now when I saw that Uber bill, I was like, y'all crazy as shit. Because that Uber bill would be like $500-600. Say what?
Just for everybody. Wow.
You know? Hey, but they paying it. I ain't paying it. If I was paying it, yeah, I would have went to the auction, bought them a Humpty, took it to my mechanic, fix it up, you good. I'll pay your insurance. I'm old school like that. But yeah, I only got to worry about that with 1 child. Okay? That might be it. Oh, all right. Now let's look at this New Year's chart a little more. Yeah, all right, yeah. I didn't want to leave y'all with like, damn, Ras. You know, for real. Like, we got to have something to hold on to. And again, I feel it's that Neptune in 12th house. Okay? It's our time. We are Neptune, Pisces, 12th house people. It's our time. Alright? And to be honest, Neptune and Pisces is the only planet that is like full of beneficent aspects. It's sextiling the Sun and Pluto and Venus. So that means it's like giving a harmonic energy to the Sun. It's trining Jupiter and Mars, and it's trining the Moon. Okay? So how might that manifest? On one level, it may be the star nations. 12th house is house of angels. Star nations is off the hook right now. Alright? But there also might be a lot of deception with it. But pay attention to a man named Tom DeLonge. Have y'all heard of Tom DeLonge? No. Okay, so Tom DeLonge is a rock artist. A rock and roll artist who formed a nonprofit corporation that the Department of Defense is working with for disclosure. And just this week, they released what they say is Pentagon footage of a UFO. And Tom DeLonge also disclosed how the Pentagon had a $112 million annual budget for UFO hunting and recovery. Okay? So he is being used for the government disclosure. So you need to pay attention to that. I feel there's going to be a lot of deception with that. But same way, the star nations is going to be very active. We might have angelic intervention. But I think we got to put ourselves in the place. Right now, we might be helpless. Meaning we're not in a position to receive their help. Why? Because if we walk out that front door right now and we see the star nations in the sky, how many of y'all gonna freak out? Or how many of y'all will recognize them for who they are and know how to behave in their presence? So until we have a critical mass of different ones that can respond that way, right? Then we're helpless. They can't come and help us, because if they show themselves, we're going to hurt ourselves. We ain't going to hurt them, but we will hurt ourselves. So that's one thing. Rematriation. What's the difference between rematriation and repatriation? We should find a harbor place, a piece of land that isn't so much associated with a political homeland as much as a place that we can go and reconnect with Mother Nature. Have some, go and direct source clean water, grow some food, be self-sustaining, rematriate, reconnect with Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Okay? Also, Neptune and Pluto, 12th house, what Sister Ethel was talking about, manifesting. If you're not manifesting, if you don't see your own mind powers manifesting in your reality right now, I think I'd have to say there ain't really too much hope for you right now. Because the energy with the omniverse is such right now that with a little bit of discipline, you don't even have to be really disciplined, and right intention. I think that's most important. Innocence of intention. Right? What we thinking, we feeling, speaking, and doing, we manifesting. It's not instantaneously, synchronistically. And if you don't see that happening in your life, you need more prayer and meditation and quiet time. You need more discipline and cultivate it, because the energy of the omniverse right now with Neptune and Pisces in 12th house, Yeah, we should be magi manifesting. Who's not magi manifesting? Give thanks. Everybody is, right? This is the season we in. So what that really means is Trump don't mean nothing.
That's right.
To be honest, if you working your thing right, if you working your thing right, Trump doesn't mean nothing. If you give Trump a lot of energy, then you're allowing him to distract you and take you off your game. If you could study Trump and not have him put fear and doubt in your heart, you good. If you can't study Trump without those things getting in you, don't even pay him no attention. That's what I would say. Number 4, I hear that. Alright? And also, just generally speaking, Neptune and Pisces in 12th house is the ultimate sign of atonement, redemption, and fulfillment. So this is the season that we can experience these things in our life. Alright? So, I know it was long. Yes, sir. But this is where we at starting 2018.
Admitted it's strange times. Admitted unusual times. Now people know, call out the job, call out the job. Some pick up power than their own name, than their own name. And some are said, can't trust the law, governmental power, yeah. Some pick up power than their time frame, yeah. Natural catastrophe a show, same outside the reach of the whole game. The fate of my fathers have demonstrate right in my own living time frame. New industries rising up, speculators are bailing. Execution is immediate, so there is cutting edge of money maker, and they don't consider friendship on the thing. Nepotism is the rule, yes. Inclusion that speak up for the whole say. The citizens by unit make the whole place. Now people know to call out to Jah, call out to Jah. Yeah, some bigger power than their own name, than their own name. And some are saying, can't trust the law, governmental power. Some bigger power than their time frame. Natural catastrophe a show, same outside the reaches of the whole game. Tense and static and unstable times. People are living on the edge line. Just the finances to make life more likely to fight because things tight. Admitted it's strange times. Yeah, whoa. When just the joy of a child makes the day right. No one knows tomorrow, clientele wise, who will be in need of what service. I consulting him, Rastafari. spiritual power. Some big